All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says announcements made by Finance Minister will boost consumer sentiments and demand in economy. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says Centre will facilitate borrowing for states willing to go ahead with proposed borrowing options against future GST collections. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 86.36%. Supreme Court orders declaration of Neet results on October 16. US calls for expansion of Quad, saying like-minded countries must join hands to ensure free and open Indo-Pacific. In IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad will clash with Chennai Super Kings in Dubai this evening. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a note of precaution to stay safe and stay protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the announcements by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is a timely move which will boost consumer spending and sentiment as well as push capital expenditure. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said these steps will also boost demand in the economy. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced a major scheme to boost demand in the country by nearly 73,000 crore rupees. Addressing a media briefing in the national capital yesterday, the minister laid out the details of the fiscally prudent proposals to stimulate demand in the economy. Finance Minister Sitharaman said the new proposals aim at giving a thrust of around 36,000 crore rupees to the consumer demands by the Leave Travel Concession, LTC voucher and Festival Advance Scheme. She said an additional 37,000 crore rupees will be infused in the capital expenditure by the centre and the state governments. Briefing the media, the minister informed that in lieu of the LTC for the 2018 to 21 block term, payments will be made to the government employees for their 10-day leave encashment and eligible travel fare. She informed the employees opting for the scheme will have to submit GST invoices for purchase of goods or service amounting to 3 times the value of travel fare, in addition to the value of the LTC encashment amount.
The amount which is given to them as per government rules, their rank, their position, is now brought to 3 different slabs. And they are flat rate slabs, which is equivalent to the travel ticket, the round ticket that they would get. And that, which will continue to be tax-free, will have to be spent on items which have 12% or more GST tax levied on them.
The Finance Minister informed that the new proposal is likely to cost nearly 5,675 crore rupees to the central government. She said if the proposals are uniformly implemented by the state governments, an overall additional consumer demand to the tune of 28,000 crore rupees will be generated. Under the Special Festival Advance Scheme, Ms. Sitharaman said interest-free advance of 10,000 rupees will be made available to all the government employees.
When the 7th Pay Commission came in, there was no special festival advance. We are now reviving it as a one-time affair. We are giving 10,000 rupees for all central government employees, irrespective of their position, rank, gazetted, non-gazetted, and this shall be repaid in 10 installments. This will be given as a prepaid RuPay card. It's an interest-free advance.
The minister said, considering 50% states also adopt the scheme, it is likely to infuse nearly 8,000 crore rupees in the demand sector. In her announcement towards special assistance for states for utilization under capital expenditure, the Finance Minister informed that special interest-free loans with a 50-year repayment term and amounting to 12,000 crore rupees will be disbursed. Under the assistance scheme, 2,500 crore rupees will be given to the northeastern states and northern states of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. 7,500 crore rupees will be given to other states in proportion to their share in Finance Commission devolution. The minister also announced that an additional amount of 25,000 crore rupees will be provided by the centre through capital expenditure on roads, defence infrastructure, water supply, urban development and domestically produced capital equipment. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that the centre will facilitate borrowings for the states which want to go ahead with its proposed borrowing options against the future GST collections. The move, which aims at compensating the states for their GST revenue shortfall amidst the pandemic, has been supported by the majority of the finance ministers of the states and union territories. Briefing the media in New Delhi after the GST Council meeting yesterday, Finance Minister Sitharaman informed that 21 states and union territories have agreed to borrow money on their own, but a complete consensus on the matter is awaited. She said the Council will further discuss to sort out differences with the remaining states which are asking the centre to borrow on their behalf.
We shall arrange, we shall facilitate, we shall work it out in such a way that states are not going to be ending up one state paying very high interest for the borrower and the other probably being smart enough, went to the market and quickly obtained something at a reasonable rate. We'll try to have something done in such a way that all states end up paying fairly equitable rate.
The finance minister asserted that in case the centre borrows and pays the states for the shortfall, it would lead to a rise in borrowing costs both for the government and the private sector. Presenting the details, she informed that any rise in the government securities in lieu of the borrowings by the centre will result in hike in the borrowing costs for other entities. Ms. Sitharaman also reassured the states that the entire interest and principal amount for the amount borrowed by them will be paid from the compensation cess.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will release the autobiography of Dr. Bala Saheb Vikhe Patil and rename the Pravara Rural Education Society as Neet Dr. Bala Saheb Vikhe Patil Pravara Rural Education Society this morning through video conferencing in a program scheduled at 11 a.m. Dr. Bala Saheb Vikhe Patil served as member of Lok Sabha for multiple terms. His autobiography is titled Dev Echva Karani, which means dedicating one's life for a noble cause. Dr. Patil is known for his path-breaking work in various fields, including agriculture and cooperatives. Pravara Rural Education Society was established in 1964 at Loni in Ahmednagar district with an aim to providing world-class education to the rural masses and empowering the girl child. The society is currently serving with the core mission of educational, social, economical, cultural, physical and psychological development of students. In Bihar, the notification for the third phase of assembly elections will be issued today for 78 assembly constituencies spread over 15 districts. Polling will be held on the 7th of November in this phase. The last date of filing of nomination is 20th October. Scrutiny will be held on the next day and the last date of withdrawal of candidature is 23rd October. This time, a large number of rebel candidates have filed their nominations against authorized candidates. The BJP has expelled its 9 party officials, including former State Vice President Rajendra Singh, senior leaders Rameshwar Chaurasya and Usha Vidyarthi for contesting against authorized nominees of NDA. More from our correspondent.
The poll campaigns are now getting momentum on online and offline mode. Addressing a virtual rally, JDU President and Chief Minister Nitish Kumar appealed voters to vote in favor of NDA on the basis of his development work. He assured that if voted to power, he will work for self-reliant Bihar. RJD will formally start its poll campaigns today. With only 3 days left in the nomination for the second phase, parties like RJD and Congress have not declared their list of candidates due to contention over some seats. Both the parties are giving tickets on the individual basis. RJD has so far denied tickets to its 17 sitting MLAs and changed constituencies of 5. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
In Bihar, the Congress party has removed 3 senior party leaders from selection committee following irregularities in selection of candidates for Bihar Assembly elections. The leaders who were removed from the committee are State Congress Chief Madan Mohan Jha, Congress Legislative Party leader Sadanand Singh and leader of election campaign Akhilesh Prasad Singh. The leaders who raised question about the selection committee were included in new committee. They are Anil Sharma and Chandan Bagchi. Party election committee meeting will be held tomorrow to select candidates for the assembly elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over the death of Vinod Kumar Singh, who was the Minister of Backward and Extremely Backward Classes in Bihar. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said he remained dedicated to the empowerment of the poor and underprivileged. He said Vinod Kumar Singh also played an important role in strengthening the BJP in the state. The Prime Minister conveyed his condolences to his family and supporters.
In Ladakh, polling facility for senior citizens and differently abled people is being held today and tomorrow for General Council election of LAHDC in Leh. Ahead of actual polling on 22nd October, this is a facility provided by the Leh Election Authority to ensure safety from the ongoing pandemic as well as greater participation in the upcoming elections. Our correspondent has filed this report.
The Leh Election Authority has made a special arrangement for senior citizens and special need persons at their respective residences at Leh. This is to facilitate them in avoiding the polling booth and possible delay in voting due to social distancing at polling booth. This facility has also been extended to those voters who are isolated or placed under institutional quarantine. So far, over 2,000 voters have opted to get this voting facility. The polling will begin today and will continue till tomorrow. Booth-level officers with security personnel visit the house of classified voters. With Ramesh Chandra, this is Young Chandolma for AR News from Leh Ladakh.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says announcements made by Finance Minister will boost consumer sentiments and demand in economy. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says Centre will facilitate borrowing for states willing to go ahead with proposed borrowing options against future GST collections. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 86.36%. Supreme Court orders declaration of Neet results on October 16. US calls for expansion of Quad, saying like-minded countries must join hands to ensure free and open Indo-Pacific. In IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad will clash with Chennai Super Kings in Dubai this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
3 steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene. The government has said the country's recovery rate among the COVID-19 patients has reached 86.36%. In the last 24 hours, more than 71,000 COVID patients have recovered. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has reached over 61,49,000. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 8,61,000. In the last 24 hours, 66,732 new cases have been reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country so far to over 71 lakh. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.53%, which is one of the lowest globally. 816 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the toll to 1,09,150. According to ICMR, during the last 24 hours, more than 9,94,000 tests have been conducted. The total sample tested so far has reached to over 8,78 lakh. India is witnessing a trend of declining average daily COVID cases for over the past 5 weeks. The active cases have gradually fallen and currently stands at nearly 8,60,000. The number of recoveries in the country continues its upward streak and is more than 7 times the number of active cases.
Participating in our live phone-in program on COVID-19, Dr. Rupali Malik, Associate Professor of Internal Medicine at Safdarjung Hospital, said that as winters are approaching, other viral infections will also increase and it is hard to differentiate between COVID and other infections. So, isolation at an early stage will help control the spread of viruses.
ठंड के मौसम में नॉर्मल वायरल इन्फेक्शन भी काफी कॉमन होते हैं और हर वायरल इन्फेक्शन कोरोना नहीं होता है, लेकिन तो सबसे पहली संभावना जो हमारे मन में आती है वो केवल कोरोना की आती है। इसके लिए अगर आपको लगता है कि आपको बुखार, खांसी, जुकाम जैसे तरह के कोई भी लक्षण अगर आपको हैं, तो सबसे पहली चीज जो आपको करनी है वो है आइसोलेशन। तो अगर एक बार आप आइसोलेशन मेंटेन कर लेते हैं तो आप अपने आसपास के लोगों को इस बीमारी से बचा सकते हैं अगर आपको ये है तो।
The World Health Organization warned against the idea that herd immunity might be a realistic strategy to stop the COVID-19 pandemic. At a media briefing in London, WHO Director General T.A. Ghebreyesus said such proposals are simply unethical. He said that the health officials typically aim to achieve herd immunity by vaccination. The WHO chief noted that in order to obtain herd immunity from highly infectious diseases such as measles, for example, about 95% of the population must be immunized. He said that herd immunity is achieved by protecting people from a virus and not by exposing them to it.
A total of 1,849 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the national capital in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 3,11,000. The Delhi government said that over 2,84,000 people affected by coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 2,975 people recovered and 40 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 5,809. Presently, the total number of active cases in the national capital is 20,535. In Odisha, COVID-19 recovery has further improved. As many as 3,342 patients were reported to have been cured yesterday, as against 2,423 new cases. With 18 more deaths, the total fatalities in the state has mounted to 1,040.
With recovery on the rise, the active viral load of the state continues to spiral down for over a week now. The gradual withdrawal of the viral footprints from across the state is apparent from the fact that the number of districts reporting new cases beyond 100 every day has significantly scaled down to only 5 yesterday, as against more than half the districts out of 30 a few days ago. Among the districts, while Khordha with 359 cases continues to top the Delhi COVID tally, Cuttack with 118 fresh cases has managed to give way to Angul with 229. Meanwhile, the state government has made yet another dedicated COVID-19 hospital operational in the tribal dominated district of Koraput from yesterday. Girish Chandra Das, Bhubaneswar.
In Madhya Pradesh, schools from class 1 to 8th will be completely closed in the state till November 15. School Education Department has issued an order which said that it will be compulsory for all schools to follow the SOPs and guidelines on health and safety. More from our correspondent.
All schools from class 9 to 12th will also be opening partially. Regular classes will not be conducted and online reading and learning activities will continue as before. On the other hand, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan will virtually inaugurate the 145 newly constructed school buildings at Minto Hall in Bhopal today. These have been constructed by the Tribal Welfare Department and School Education Department. The school buildings of the districts which are going to assembly by-elections will not be included in this program. The Chief Minister will also communicate with the beneficiaries and public representatives of Bhopal, Shahjahanpur and Umaria districts regarding educational facilities in this program. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Gujarat recorded 1,169 new cases in the last 24 hours, which are the lowest in the last 50 days. The recovery rate has reached 87.55%. More from our correspondent.
The number of new cases in Gujarat is constantly falling. The daily reporting of new cases fell by more than 240 during the last 15 days. The total 1,33,752 patients recovered from COVID-19 till now. 1,442 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. More than 50,63,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Maximum 254 new cases reported from Surat, while Ahmedabad recorded 184 new cases. At present, total active cases in the state are 15,436. 8 patients died yesterday, taking the total death due to COVID-19 up to 3,577. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
Karnataka has improved its recovery rate with a record 12,030 people recovering from COVID-19 and getting discharged from various hospitals in the state yesterday. The recovery rate has gone up to 81.7%. Our correspondent has details on the celebration of the upcoming festivals. A report.
Karnataka Health and Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar said that the world-famous Mysuru Dasara will be a simple celebration this time as COVID is still rampant in the state. People can watch Dasara celebration at their home for their own safety. The minister asked the people to follow the guidelines and cooperate with the government. Reviewing the COVID-19 countermeasures in Mysuru yesterday, the minister told media persons that around 590 beds are currently available for COVID patients in Mysuru government hospitals and additional 428 beds will be made available within a week's time. The minister said that new labs will be established in Mysuru for conducting 3,000 to 4,000 tests per day. R. Murthy, AR News, Bengaluru.
In Tamil Nadu, the new COVID-19 cases on a 24-hour basis dipped below 5,000 mark yesterday. More from our correspondent.
Encouraging trends are visible in yesterday's COVID-19 data released by the Tamil Nadu State Health Department. The number of people under treatment or at home isolation remained at nearly 43,000 on the 3rd of July. After an upward movement for many months, the number has retraced to a little above 43,000 again yesterday. It may be seen that the graph on active caseload shows the declining trend for the past many days, though the pace of the dip is only marginal. Another remarkable feature is the everyday new COVID-19 cases, which dropped below the 5,000 mark yesterday, the first time in several months. Officials point out that if all the public follow the safety protocols without any let-off in wearing face masks, the chain of the pandemic spread could be broken effectively. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
In Kerala, 5,930 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed yesterday, while 7,836 patients recovered from the infection. 22 deaths were also confirmed in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll in the state to 1,025. The total active COVID cases in Kerala rose to 94,388. The Supreme Court has ordered the declaration of Neet exam results on the 16th of this month. The Apex Court also allowed conducting of Neet exam tomorrow for students residing in COVID-19 containment zones and who were not able to give the exams earlier. The Supreme Court order came after Solicitor General Tushar Mehta informed the court that National Testing Agency will conduct the Neet exams for those students who were unable to appear earlier as they were stuck in containment zones or were COVID-19 positive. These students will be getting an opportunity to appear for the exams to be conducted tomorrow. Neet is one of the highest competitive exams, opening opportunities for students to get into the most prestigious medical colleges.
U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Stephen Biegun has called for expansion of Quad, saying like-minded countries and groupings must join hands to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific. Addressing the India-US Forum in New Delhi, he said the coalition can be extended to broader areas of shared interests and with other like-minded partners seeking a free and open Indo-Pacific. Biegun said in Southeast Asia, Quad partners can deepen engagement with 10-nation ASEAN group, cooperate in defending freedom of the seas and work together in governance, health, environmental protection and transparent data sharing. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and U.S. Deputy Secretary of State held talks on bilateral, regional and key global issues with a focus on the common vision of the two countries for the Indo-Pacific region. Biegun arrived in New Delhi yesterday on a 3-day visit, primarily to finalize the groundwork for the third edition of 2+2 dialogue between the two countries later this month. Following a rare city-wide power outage that crippled Mumbai yesterday, Maharashtra Power Minister Nitin Raut has announced that a 4-member inquiry committee has been set up to examine causes of the power failure. The committee will also find out why only 50% repair of GIS system was done.
In Telangana, several parts, including the state capital, Hyderabad, are seeing incessant rains. Many places, especially in North and East Telangana districts, have received heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours. A report.
Somesh Kumar has directed district authorities to ensure no loss of life and keep a watch on all irrigation projects besides streams. The people have also been advised not to go near the overflowing streams. Gates of the Srisalem project over River Krishna have been lifted as heavy inflows reaching the reservoir. Meanwhile, 18.7 centimeters of the highest rainfall recorded in Khammam district during the past 24 hours. Nizamabad, Kamareddy, Rajanna Sircilla, Karimnagar, Mehbubnagar, Medak, Siddipet, Komuram Bhim, Asifabad districts are among which recorded over 10 centimeters of rainfall till this morning. Lakshmi, AR News, Hyderabad.
A deep depression over West Central Bay of Bengal has moved west-northwestwards and lay centered south of Visakhapatnam and east-southeast of Kakinada and east of Narsapur in Andhra Pradesh. It is very likely to continue to move west-northwestwards and cross North Andhra Pradesh coast between Narsapur and Visakhapatnam. Heavy to severe rainfall has been recorded in several pockets in Andhra Pradesh.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was recorded at 19 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 35. In Mumbai, there will be generally cloudy sky with light rain. Chennai will see a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Kolkata will see a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 18 in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 34. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature was around 5, while the maximum will be around 25. The city will see a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Ladakh will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Gilgit, the temperature is likely to hover between 9 and 26 degrees Celsius. And in Muzaffarabad, there will be a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening.
Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Kolkata Knight Riders by 82 runs at Sharjah last night. Chasing the victory target of 195 runs set by RCB, KKR scored only 112 runs for 9 wickets. In today's encounter, Sunrisers Hyderabad will meet Chennai Super Kings in Dubai. And now an overview of today's newspapers. The top headline in all the dailies writes about the SOPs announced by the government to spur the festive demand. Government rolls out festive stimulus, writes Hindustan Times. Central government PSU staff to get LTC cash vouchers to buy consumer goods, writes The Hindu. After stalemate, centre to help 21 states borrow, notes The Economic Times. Quoting the Defence Minister, the Indian Express writes, Pak-China are creating border disputes under a mission. And finally, to save their trees, Bastar tribals stand up to tradition. Resolving not to let any of the trees around their villages to be cut is a story on the front page of the Indian Express.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says announcements made by Finance Minister will boost consumer sentiments and demand in economy. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says Centre will facilitate borrowings for states willing to go ahead with proposed borrowing options against future GST collections. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 86.36%. Supreme Court orders declaration of Neet results on October 16. US calls for expansion of Quad, saying like-minded countries must join hands to ensure free and open Indo-Pacific. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad will clash with Chennai Super Kings in Dubai this evening. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.